The Shunammite land restored. Now Elisha had said to the woman whose son he had restored to life, "Go away with your family and stay for a while wherever you can, because the Lord has decreed a famine in the land that will last 7 years." The woman proceeded to do as the man of God said. She and her family went away and stayed in the land of the Philistines 7 years. At the end of the 7 years, she came back from the land of the Palestine and went to appeal to the king for her house and land. The king was seeking to get Haji, the servant of the man of God, and he has said, "Tell me about all the great things Elisha has done." Just as Gehazi was telling the king, now Elisha had restored the dead to life. The woman whose son Elisha had brought back to life came to appeal to the king for her house and land. Gehazi said, "This is the woman, my lord the king, and this is her son whom Elisha restored to life." The king asked the woman about it, and she told him, and he assigned an officer to the whole case and said to him, "Give back everything that belonged to her, including all the income for her land from the day she left the country until now." Hazael murders Ben-Hadad. Elisha went to Damascus, and Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, was ill. When the king of told, "The man of God has come all the way up here," he said to Hazael to take a gift with you and go to meet the man of God. Consult the Lord through him. Ask him, "Will I recover from this illness?" Hazael went to meet Elisha. Take with him as a gift for a camel load of the finest ware of Damascus. He went in and stood before him and said, "Your son Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, has sent me to ask, will I recover from this illness?" Elisha answered, Go and say to him, you will certainly recover. Nevertheless, the Lord has revealed to me that he will in fact die." He stared at him with a fixed gaze until Hazael was embarrassed. Then the man of God began to weep. "Why is my Lord weeping?" asked Hazael. Because I know the harm you will do you, the Israelite," he answered. You will set fire to their fortified place, kill their young men with a sword, dash their little children to the ground, and rip open their pregnant woman. Hazael said, How could your servant Marduk accomplish such a feat? The Lord has shown me that you will become king of Aram, answered Elisha. The Hazael left Elisha and returned to his master. When Ben-Hadad asked, What did Elisha say to you? Hazael replied, He told me that you would certainly recover. But the next day he took thick cloth, soaked it in water, and spread it over the king's face. He saw that he died. Then Hazael succeeded him as king. Jehoram, king of Judah. In the 5th year, Joram, son of Ahab, king of Israel, and Jehoshaphat was king of Judah. Jehoram, son of Jehoshaphat, began his reign as king of Judah. He was 32 years old when he followed the way of the king of Israel, as the house of the Aram had done, for he married a daughter of Ahab. He did evil in the eye of the Lord. Nevertheless, for the sake of his servant David, the Lord was not willing to destroy Judah. He had promised to maintain a lamp for David and his descendants forever. In the time of Jehoram, Edom rebelled against Judah and set up its one king. So Jehoram went to Judah with all his chariots. The Edomites surrounded him and his chariot commanders, but he rose up the rock by night. His army, however, fled back home. To this day, Edom has been in rebellion against Judah. Libnah revolted at the same time. As for the other events of Jehoram reign and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the king of Judah? Jehoram rested with his ancestors and was buried with them in the city of David. And Ahaziah, his son, succeeded him as king. Ahaziah, king of Judah, in the 12th year of Joram, son of Ahab, king of Israel. Ahaziah, son of Joram, king of Judah, began to reign. Ahaziah was 22 years old when he became king. He reigned in Jerusalem 1 year. His mother's name was Athaliah, a granddaughter of Omri, king of Israel. He followed the way of the house of Ahab and did evil in the eye of the Lord, as the house of Ahab had done, for he was related by marriage to Ahab's family. Ahijah went with Joram son of Ahab through war against Hazael, king of Aram at Ramoth Gilead. The Arameans wouldn't Joram, so King Joram returned to Jezreel to recover from the wound the Arameans had inflicted on his at Ramoth in his battle with Hazael, king of Aram. Then Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, king of Judah, went down to Jezreel to see Joram, son of Ahab, because he had been wounded. Jehu anointed king of Israel. The prophet Elisha summoned the man from the company of the prophet and said to him, "Tuck your cloak into your belt. Take this flask of olive oil with you, and go to Ramoth Gilead. When you get there, look for Jehu son of Joshaphat, the son of Nimsi. Go to him, get him away from his companions, and take him into an inner room. Then take the flask and pour the oil on his head and declare, 'This is what the Lord says. I anoint you king of Israel.' Then open the door and run. Don't delay." So the young prophet went to Ramoth Gilead. When he arrived, he found the army officers sitting together. "I have a message for you, Commander," he said. "For which of us?" asked Jehu. "For you, Commander," he replied. Jehu got up and went into the house. Then the prophet poured the oil on Jehu's head and declared, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel says. I anoint you king over the Lord's people Israel. You are to destroy the house of Ahab your master, and I will avenge the blood of my servant the prophet, and the blood of all the Lord's servants shed by Jezebel. The whole house of Ahab will perish. I will cut off from Ahab every last male in Israel, slave or free. I will make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha son of Ahijah. So as for Jezebel, dog will devour her on the flood of ground at Jezebel, and no one will bury her." Then he opened the door and ran. When Jehu went out to his fellow officers, one of them asked him, "Is anything all right? Why did this maniac come to you?" "So, know the woman and the sort of two things he says," Jehu replied. "That's not true," they said. "Tell us." Jehu said, "Here is what he told me. This is what the Lord says. I anoint you They quickly took their cloaks and spread them under him on the various steps. Then they blew the trumpet and shouted, Jehu is king. Jehu kills Joram and Ahijah. So Jehu's son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi, conspired against Joram. Now Joram and all Israel had been defending Ramoth Gilead against Hazael king of Aram, but King Joram had returned to Jezreel to recover from the wound the Arameans had inflicted on him in the battle with Hazael. Hazael king of Aram, Jehu said, If you desire to make me king, don't let anyone slip out of the city to go and tell the news in Jezreel. Then he got into his chariot and rode to Jezreel, because Joram was resting there, and Ahijah king of Judah had gone down to see him. When he looked out standing on the tower in Jezreel, saw Jehu's troops approaching, he called out, I see some troops coming, so get a horseman. Joram ordered, send him to meet them and ask, Do you come in peace? The horseman rode off to meet Jehu and said, This is what the king says. Do you come in peace? What do you have to do with priests? Jehu replied, Fall in behind me. The lookout reported the messenger had reached them, but he isn't come back. So the king sent out a second horseman. When he came to them, he said, This is what the king says. Do you come in peace? Jehu replied, What do you have to do? Peace is behind me. The lookout reported he has reached them, but he isn't coming back either. The driving is like that of Jehu son of Nimshi. He drives like a maniac. Hitch up my chariot, Joram ordered, and when it was hitched up, Joram king of Israel and Ahijah king of Judah rode out, each in his own chariot to meet Jehu. They met him at the flood of ground that had belonged to Naboth the Jezreelite. When Joram saw Jehu, he asked, Have you come in peace, Jehu? How can there be peace? Jehu replied, As long as all the idolatry and witchcraft of your mother Jezebel abound, and witchcraft of Jonathan and plead, calling out of Jehaziah, treachery, Ahijah. Then Jehu drew his bow and shot Joram between the shoulder. An arrow pierced his heart, and he slumped down in his chariot. Jehu said to Bidkar, his chariot officer, Pick him up band threw him on the field that belonged to Naboth the Jezreelite. Remember how you and I were riding together in Charlotte behind Ahab, his father, when the Lord spoke the prophecy against him. Yesterday I saw the blood of Naboth and the blood of his son, declares of the Lord, and I will surely make you pay for it on this plot of ground, declares the Lord. Now then, pick him up and throw him and that plot in accordance with the word of the Lord. When Ahaziah, king of Judah, saw what happened, he pleaded up the Lord of Beth-Hagen. Jehu chased him, shouting, kill him too. They wounded him and his chariot on the way up to Gur near Abilim, but he escaped to Megiddo and died there. His servant took him by chariot to Jerusalem and buried him with his ancestor in his tomb in the city of David. In the 11th year of Joram, son of Ahab, Ahaziah had become king of Judah. Jezebel killed. Then Jehu went to Jezreel. When Jezebel heard about it, she put on eye makeup, arranged her hair, and looked out of the window. As Jehu entered the gate, she asked, "Have you come in peace, you chimney, you murderer over your master?" He looked up at the window and called out, "Who is on my side?" Who? Two of three unches looked down at him, threw her down. Jehu said. So they threw her down, and some of her blood spattered the wall and the horses as they trampled her on the foot. Jehu went in and ate and drank. "Take care of that cursed woman," he said, "and bury her, for she was king's daughter." But when they went out to bury her, they found nothing except her skull, her feet, and her hand. They went back and told Jehu, who said, "This is the word of the Lord," that he spoke through his servant Eliah. This Tishbite on the plot of the ground at Jezreel, dog will devour Jezreel's place. Jezreel's body will be like dung on the ground in the flood at Jezreel, so no one will be able to say, This is judgment. Ahab family killed. Now there were in Samaria 70 sons of the house of Ahab. So Jehu wrote letters and sent them to Samaria, to the official of Jezreel, to the elder, and to the guardians of Ahab's children. He said, "You have your master's son with you, and you have Charlotte and horses, a fortified city and weapon. Now, as soon as this letter reaches you, choose the best and most worthy of master's son and set him on his father's throne. Then fight for your master's houses." But they were terrified and said, "If the two kings could not resist him, how can we?" So that palace administrator, the city governor, the elder, and the guardians sent this message to Jehu: "We are your servant, and we will do anything you say. We will not appoint anyone as king. You do whatever you think best." Then Jehu wrote them a second letter, saying, If you are my side and you will obey me, take the head of your master's son and come to me in Jezreel by this time tomorrow." Now the royal princes, 70 them, were with the leading men of the city, who were wearing hearing them. And the letter arrived, these men took the princes and slaughtered all 70 of them. They put their heads in baskets and sent them to Jehu in Jezreel. When the messenger arrived, he told Jehu, "They have brought the head of the princes." Then Jehu ordered them into files at the entrance of the city gate until morning. Then the next morning Jehu went out. He stood before all the people and said, "You are innocent. It was I who conspired against my master and killed him. But who killed all this? Now then, know then that not a word the Lord has spoken against the house of Ahab will fail. The Lord has done what he announced without his servant Eliah." So Jehu killed anyone in Jezreel who remained of the house of Ahab, as well as his chief men, his close friends, and his priests, leaving him no survivor. Jehu set out and went toward Samaria. At Beth-Eked of the shepherd, he met him, relative of Ahijah, king of Judah, and asked, "Who are you?" They said, "We are relatives of Ahijah, and we have come down to greet the families of the king and of the king's mother. Take them alive," he ordered. So they took them alive and slaughtered them by the well of Beth-eked. 42 of them he left no survivor. After he left there, he came up Jehonadab, son of Rechab, who was on his way to meet him. Jehu greeted him and said, "Are you in accord with me as I am with you?" "I am," Jehonadab answered. "If so," said Jehu, "give me your hand." So he did, and Jehu helped him up into the chariot. Jehu said, "Come with me and see my zeal for the Lord." Then he had him ride along in his chariot. When Jehu came to Samaria, he killed all who were left there of Ahab's family. He destroyed them according to the word of the Lord spoken to Eliah, son of Baal killed. Then Jehu brought all the people together and said to them, "Ahab served Baal a little, Jehu will serve him much. Now summon all the prophets of Baal, all his servants, and all his priests." He that no one is missing, because I am going to hold a great sacrifice for Baal. Anyone who fails to come will no longer live. But Jehu was acting deceptively in order to destroy the servant of Baal. Jehu said, "Call an assembly in honor of Baal." So they proclaimed it. Then he sent word throughout Israel, and all the servants of Baal came. Not one stayed away. The crowd into the temple of Baal until it was full from one end to the other. And Jehu said to keeper of the wardrobe, "Bring robe for all the servants of Baal." So he put out robe for them. Then Jehu and Jehonadab, son of Rechab, went into the temple of Baal. Jehu said to the servant of Baal, "Look around and see that no one who serves the Lord is here with you, only servants of Baals." So they went in to make sacrifice and burnt offering. Now Jehu had posted 80 men outside with this warning: "If one of you lets any of the men I am placing in your hands escape, it will be your life for his life." As soon as Jehu had finished making a burnt offering, he ordered the guard and officers to go in and kill them. Let no one escape. So they cut them down and the sword. The guard and officer threw the bodies out and then entered the inner ceiling of the temple of Baal. They brought the sacred stone out of the temple of Baal and burned in. They demolished the sacred stone of Baal and tore down the temple of Baal. And people have used it for latrine to this day. So Jehu destroyed Baal worship in Israel. However, he did not turn away from the sin of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit, the worship of the gold corpus at Bethel. And the Lord said to Jehu, because you have done well in accomplishing what is right in my eyes, and have done that honor a house of I have in mind to do. Your descendants will sit on the throne of Israel to the fourth generation. You at Jehu was not careful to keep the law of the Lord, the God of Israel, with all his heart. He did not turn away from the sin of God of Israel. With all his heart, he did not turn away from the sin of Jeroboam, which he had caused Israel to commit. In those days, the Lord began to reduce the size of Israel. Hazael overpowered an Israelite through their territory east of the Jordan in all the land of Gilead, the region and of Gad, Reuben and Manasseh, from Aroer by the Arnon Jordan through Gilead to Bashan. As for the other events of Jehu's reign, all he did and all his achievements, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel? Jehu rested with his ancestors and was buried in Samaria, and Jehoahaz, his son, succeeded him as king. The time that Jehu reigned over Israel in Samaria was 28 years. Athaliah and Joash. When Athaliah, the mother of Ahijah saw that her son was dead. She proceeded to destroy the whole royal family. But Jehoshaphat, the daughter of King Jehoram and sister of Ahijah, took Joash son of Ahijah, thus thrown him away from among the royal princes who were about to be murdered. She put him and his nurse in bedroom to hide him from Athaliah, so he was not killed. He remained hidden with his nurse at the temple of the Lord for 6 years while Athaliah ruled the land. In the 7th year, Jehoiada sent for the commanders of a unit of 100, the Carites, and had them brought to him at the temple of the Lord. He made a covenant with them and put them under oath at the temple of the Lord. Then he showed them the king's son. He commanded them, saying, "This is what you are to do. You who are in the 3 companies that are going on duty the Sabbath, a Thursday, the guarding the royal palace. The third at the shore gate, and a third at the gate behind the guard, who take turns guarding the temple. And you who are in the other 2 companies that normally go over Sabbath duty are ordered guard to temple for the king. Station yourselves around the king, each of you with a weapon in hand. Anyone who approaches your ranks is to be put to death. Stay close to the king wherever he goes." The commanders of a unit of 100 did just as Jehoiada, the priest, ordered. Each one took his man, those who were going on duty on the Sabbath and those who were going off duty, and came to Jehoiada the priest. Then he gave the commanders those spears and shields that had belonged to King David and that were in the temple of the Lord. The guard, each with weapon in hand, stationed themselves around the king near the altar and the temple, from the south side to the north side of the temple. Jehoiada brought out the king's son and put the crown of him. He presented him with a copy of the covenant and proclaimed him king. They anointed him, and the people clapped their hands and shouted, "Long live the king!" When Athaliah heard the noise made by the guard and the people, she went to the people at the temple of the Lord. She looked, and there was the king standing by the pillar as the custom was. The officer and the trumpeters were beside the king, and all the people of the land were rejoicing and blowing trumpets. Then Athaliah tore her robes and cried out, "Treason, treason!" Jehoiada the priest ordered the commanders of units of 100 who were in charge of the troops bring her out between the ranks and put to the sword anyone who followed her. For the priest had said, "He must not be put to death in the temple of the Lord." So they seized her, and she reached the palace where the horses entered the palace grounds, and there he was put to death. Jehoiada then made a covenant between the Lord and the king, the four people, that they would be the Lord's people. He also made a covenant between the king and the people. All the people of the land went to the temple of Baal and tore it down. They smashed the altar and idols to pieces and killed Matan, the priest of Baal, in front of the altar. Then Jehoiada the priest posted guard at the temple of God Lord. He took with him the commander of 100, the Carites, the guard, and all the people of the land, and together they brought the king down from the temple of the Lord and went into the palace, entering by way of the gate of the guard. The king then took his place on the royal throne. All the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was claimed, because Artaxerxes had been slain with the sword at the palace. Zeus was 7 years old when he began to reign. Zeus repaired the temple. In the 7th year of Jehu, Zeus became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 4 years. His mother's name was Zibiah. She was from Beersheba. Zeus did what was right in the eye of the Lord. Was Jehoiada the priest instructed him. The high place, however, were not removed. The people continued to offer sacrifice and burn incense there. Joash said to the priest, "Collect all the money that is brought as secret offerings to the temple of the Lord, the money collected in the census, the money received from personal votes, and the money brought voluntarily to the temple. Let every priest receive the money from one of the treasures, then use it to repair whatever damages is found in the temple. But by the 23rd years of King Joash, the priests still had not repaired the temple. Therefore King Joash summoned Jehoiada the priest and the other priests and asked them, "Why aren't you repairing the damage done to the temple? Take no more money from your treasurers, but hand it over for repairing the temple." The priests agreed that they would not collect any more money from the people, and then they would not repair the temple themselves. Jehoiada the priest took up a chest and for the whole its feet he placed it beside the altar of the right side as one enter the temple of the Lord. The priest who guarded the entrance brought into the chest all the money that was brought to the temple of the Lord. Whenever they saw that there was a large amount of money in the chest, the royal secretary and the high priest came, counted the money that had been brought into the temple of the Lord, and put it back. When the amount had been determined, they gave the money to the man appointed to supervise the work on the temple. With it they paid those who worked on the temple on the Lord. The carpenters and builders, the mason, and stonecutters, they purchased timber and blocks of dressed stone for the repair of the temple of the Lord, and met all the older expense of destroying the temple. The money brought into the temple was not spent for making silver basins, wick trimmers, sprinkled bowls, trumpet, or any other articles of gold or silver for the temple of the Lord. It was paid to the workers who used it to repair the temple. They did not require an accounting from those to whom they gave money to pay the workers, because they acted with complete honesty. The money from the guilt offerings and sin offering was not brought into the temple of the Lord. It belonged to the priest. About this time, Hazael king of Aram went out and attacked Gath and captured it. Then he turned to attack Jerusalem, but Joash king of Judah took all the sacred objects dedicated by his predecessors, Jehoshaphat, Jehoram and Ahijah, the king of Judah, and the gift he himself had dedicated, and all the gold found in the treasuries of the temple of the Lord and of the royal palace, and he sent them to Hazael king of Aram, who then withdrew from Jerusalem. As for the other events of the reign of Joash, and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the king of Judah? His officials conspired against him and assassinated him at Beth Millo on the road down to Shiloh. The official who murdered him were Jozabad, son of Shimith, and Jehozabad, son of Shumar. He died and was buried with his ancestors in the city of David. And Amaziah, his son, succeeded him as king.